Hi guys, this is Miss Carballo, and today we're going to do a quick intro into functions. Use your doodle notes as you watch this video so you can fill in along with me, okay? All right, so you have seen a function machine, hopefully in elementary school before, but a function is a special type of relationship where where there's one or more variables and each input or x value has a single output. It's a special type of relationship. So you guys have been plotting points in ordered pairs on a coordinate plane for a few years now, and a function is a special type of one of those that you plot on a coordinate plane. So the input is what you learned in elementary school, hopefully, that it goes into this machine and the 4 goes in and 6 comes out. And that's the output, because inside the machine, the rule was whatever you put in, you add 2. Okay, that's the function machine. So now that we're in 7th grade math, we're going to start adding some different words to this. This input is also called the domain, or the set of all possible x values. The output is called the range, which is all of the y values that come out on the coordinate plane. We'll also call the domain all x values, the range all the y values. Independent variable is also going to be our x values. We're gonna decide what the x is, and then the dependent variable is what comes out after what happens to the inside the machine. All right, so then let's go and look at this one. Functions, each x value is allowed to correspond to only one y value. That's the important part of the functions. You can't have an x value that has more than one y value. So if you have 4, 2, you can't also have 4, 3 be a point. That's the biggest part of what makes a function special. All right, let's continue on your note. And this relation is a function because none of the input values or the x values have more than one different output value. So 0 only has a 0 as an output. 1 only has 3 as an output. 2 only have 6. 3 only has 9. And 4 only has 12. So there's no x's that repeat and have 2 different values. So this is a function. This one is not a function. So this is the difference. This -3 has 2 different y values. And that we could still plot all these points, and it's still a relation. It's still a relationship between these x's and y's, but it's not a function. All right. So when you're dealing with functions, you will see this f of x sometimes in place of the y, and how you say it out loud is f of x. So sometimes instead of y, you will see f of x. Okay, that's in notation. Evaluating. To evaluate a function for a particular x value, just substitute or plug it in and then simplify. So if we're substituting 3 for the y, or the f of x, then you substitute it in and then do the math. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So f of 3 equals 7. So if x equals 3, y would equal 7. All right, this is also different ways that we can see relationships, and you're going to have to decide if they're functions or not functions. So one way is if we're given an XY table. So review these columns. The relation will not be a function if any x value corresponds to more than one different y value. So let's look at A together. Are there any x values that correspond to more than one different y value? So none of these x's repeat. The y's repeat, and that's okay, but none of the x's have more than one. So yes, this is a function. Let's look at B. So 3, the input, has a -6, but if you graph this, it also has a +6, and that will make this not a function. So you're looking to see if the x's repeat and they have more than one y value. This is called set notation. See these brackets, and it just lists the ordered pairs. So we're going to review each ordered pair, and the relation will not be a function if any x coordinate corresponds to more than one different y coordinate. So 3, 3, 4, -1, and 2, 3. So the x's do not repeat. They don't have more than one y value. So yes, that is a function. All right, let's look at D. There's a 1, 8, but there's also a 1, -3. So that means that the x value repeated and has more than one y value, and that is not a function. We're also going to look at graphs. We're going to put relationship and functions, and we're going to graph these. And now we're going to use the graph, and we're going to use this thing called a vertical line test. So a vertical line is a line straight up and down, and the relation will not be a function if a vertical line ever passes through more than one point. Okay, so if I take my vertical line right here, and I go down this line right here, if it touches more than one, then that means that an x is repeating. And in this case, if I do a vertical line test and move the line all the way across this graph, it will only touch at my line at one point. So this is a function. But take a look at f. If my line, vertical line is right here, -1 actually has 2 points. It's at -1, 1 and -1, -1. So this is not a function because it doesn't pass this vertical line test on the graph. All right, this is called a mapping diagram with the x and the y. So review the arrows. The relation will not be a function if any of the x value maps to more than one different y value. So -4 goes to the 16, and it looks like all the other x's only go to one y. Now there is a repeat in the y's, right? The 4 goes to 16 and the -4, but that's okay. I don't want to repeat the x values. So yes, this is a function. All right, let's look at our last one. 3 goes to 4, but 3 is also with 16. So if it was on this xy table up here, it would be similar to B. The 3's would have two different y values, and then it's not a function. All right, guys, I hope that helped. You're going to be given different graphs on or different functions and relationships on XY tables, in set notation, on graphs and mapping diagrams, and you're going to have to decide whether or not it's a function. And to be a function, you can only have one y value to each x. All right, guys, hope that helped.